from Bond Street. If you're not, and just a reminder, I think best practice from Keller Williams' perspective is to recommend at least 3 lenders. Hopefully you're using your in-house lenders, and if you are and you're going to recommend someone from Bond Street, hopefully you're recommending whoever is working with you from your office. That being said, if you're not comfortable with someone, I did put my information in the chat. You can always reach out to me directly. Be happy to assist you. And one thing that we're doing, since it's open house season, is we put together a flyer that you can bring to your open houses, just to let everyone know, you know, exactly what they need to prepare in order to get pre-approved for a mortgage. If any of you are doing a lot of open houses, I know you're probably going to come across a lot of people who are not already working with a realtor. And they're probably not working with a lender either. So one way to add value is just to give them some useful information, and that's why we created the flyer. Also, just so you know, whenever we work with someone, if they do happen to call us from the open house, you know, we're going to ask them what open house they attended, where they got the flyer, and who they got the flyer from. So hopefully you're also handing out your business cards and making that connection, so that if we do speak to them, we can tie them right back to you and get them over to you pre-approved. Any specific questions in regard to, you know, scenarios or any issues or questions that come up as you're prospecting, always feel free to reach out and talk to us, and, you know, use us as a source of info, so that you can add value for your clients. Again, info's in the chat. Rates are pretty, they've leveled off over the last 2 weeks because they were going up for a couple months, and they really have leveled off. So it hasn't been as volatile in the last week or so. What I would say though is any pre-approvals or any borrowers that you're working with that are pre-approved, always have them check with their lender and stay up to date on those rates, as it could impact their budget. So that's all I have for you guys today. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much, Amanda. And again, contact info in the chat. Just let me know if I can be of service.
Thanks so much, Jason.
Thanks, Amanda. All right, guys. Have a great day. Enjoy your class.
Thanks so much. Talk to you soon.
Thank you, Jason.
Talk to you soon.
All right, awesome. So what I would like to do is share my screen and we can get going. So what I am planning on going over is reviewing the process of creating opportunities within the Command dashboard, loading them up with all of the appropriate information, showing you how it's set up on our end and where you can attach all of your signed paperwork, and then of course filling out the commission section as well. So I know Stephanie is from the Ridgewood office. Michael and Shauna, which office are you guys with?
Ridgewood.
You're with Ridgewood as well?
Fort Lee.
And Fort Lee. Okay, awesome. So now I believe that with the Ridgewood office, you guys are a little bit different than us in terms of submitting your commissions. What we do in the Rutherford office is we're using the Command platform to actually submit the commission. So we're no longer using green sheets. We are also fully transitioned onto DocuSign, and we're no longer using DocLoop. So besides those two features, that you may see a little bit of variance between what I'm talking about and what may be holding true for your particular market center. So just keep that in mind. But at any point in time, if you would like to, you know, ask a question or have me review something, again, please feel free to stop me. I also tend to talk pretty fast without taking breaks. So if you need me to repeat anything, interrupt me, tell me to slow down and start over, and I promise you I will not be offended. So let me go ahead and share my screen. All right. So what I have here is our contact card for the contact that we're going to be creating an opportunity with. Just for a quick review, your contact card is going to showcase all of the information that's pertaining to that contact on the left-hand side. And then anything that has to do with the activity with that contact is going to be on the right-hand side. So the left-hand side will show their contact information, where this lead came from, their home address, any other information that you've added, the neighborhoods that they're assigned to, that will all show up on this left-hand side. Whereas on the right-hand side, we can see a summary of things that have happened with our contact, anything from notes that were created to emails that they were sent via smart plans, as well as when they are subscribed to a neighborhood. And if they were to open up the biweekly neighborhood nurture and actually view a neighborhood from that email, that will show up in the notes section as well. So it's definitely a good thing to check in once in a while to see if anything has populated here that you can use to start a conversation organically. You can always reach out and say, hey, I noticed that you looked at so-and-so neighborhood from that email I sent out to you last week. Did anything catch your eye? So definitely some easy ways to take advantage of this information that we're given through the dashboard. Now, in order to create an opportunity, there's many different ways that you can go about it. And that's the nice thing with the command platform. They give you a lot of ways to get from point A to point B. There's no wrong way or right way. It just depends on what screen you are on at the moment. So for example, since I'm already in my contact card, I can simply click on the opportunities section on this right side menu and create a new opportunity. I can also do this directly from the opportunities section. So again, wherever you are within the dashboard, it really doesn't necessarily matter, just whatever is easiest for you at that moment. Although I will say I do like creating the opportunity directly from the contact card, because when we do this, our client's name is automatically populated for us. This would be compared to if we go into our opportunities section and create the opportunity here, we'd have to type in our client's name and select them from the list. Now, it is important to note that you must have your contact created in the dashboard before you can create an opportunity. You have to have a client associated with the opportunity, and they must already be in the system. Whoops, what just popped up here? 1 second, folks. Technical error. All right, and that is a great question, Michael. Michael asked, what if you're representing both sides of the deal? If you're representing both sides of the deal, you're going to be creating 2 different opportunities. So you'll have both the seller and the buyer as different contacts within your opportunity, and then you'll be creating an opportunity for the listing side as well as an opportunity that's representing the buyer side. Excellent question. Before I actually go through creating an opportunity, I just wanted to briefly explain what's going on the screen here. So when you click into your opportunities, it's going to show you sort of like a timeline or a pipeline, if you will. Everything that's coming along with all of your deals that have to do with a listing, all the deals that you have to do with a buyer, and all of your deals that have to do with a rental property, whether you're working with the tenant or the landlord. Within these different hubs, we will see these different phases. There's 5 of them: cultivate, appointment, active, under contract, and closed. Within these different phases, there are different stages. And within the stages, that's where each opportunity lives. So again, an opportunity is just another word for a transaction or a deal. So every opportunity that you create within the dashboard represents a deal or a potential deal that you'd like to be working with. Now, I say potential because you can use opportunities as a way of building up your pipeline. So for example, if you meet someone grocery shopping, if they respond to a Facebook ad of yours, if you're cold calling them, whatever the situation may be, and they, the conversation of real estate comes up, and they say they may be interested in buying a house, they may be looking to sell their house at some point in time, you want to take that information and capture that and then work to nurture that lead. So what you would do is take that person's information, create them as a contact, and then create an opportunity for them. And you would throw them in one of these buckets here under this cultivate phase. This way you can come in and see your pipeline and see everyone who is in your different phases and stages and try to nurture those relationships. And ultimately the goal is to move them from stage to stage and phase to phase. So as you're working with someone and developing that friendship, developing that relationship, they may go into the hot section. And then maybe they say, you know what, I think I'm ready to start looking at some houses. I'd like to schedule some time to speak with you. Boom, we move them right into appointment. And you can see all of the different opportunity cards. You can click and drag and see exactly where they are in the pipeline. We also have coordinating percentages here on top. And these just simply represent how likely this deal is to close. So it's pretty self-explanatory. It starts at 5% and it works its way up as you go through each stage and each phase. So of course, as you get closer and closer to this deal being closed, the higher percentage that that deal will have as a probability of the deal closing and working out in your favor. Now, regardless if you're a brand new agent or an experienced agent, once you find your groove and you feel really comfortable with understanding the system, you can come in and adjust all of the stages yourself. That's simply clicking on this Edit Stages button. And you have the ability now to rename stages, delete them, add them, edit the probability percentage, anything that you would like to do. You do have that capability here. So if you are thinking about the active phase, perhaps maybe there's more to your process than simply staging the home, showing the home, and then being under negotiations. Perhaps you wanted to add something in there about actually getting paperwork signed, that initial contract, whatever the case may be. You can go in and tweak all of the stages exactly to your liking. You can also set client updates to be sent out. So if you did want to make your opportunity stages a little bit more specific and you want to send out an update to the client once a particular stage has been completed, you can do that. So let's say you have a stage where all of the pre-listing paperwork has been signed and you're ready to list the property. When you complete that opportunity, you can have the opportunity stages set up so that client will actually receive an email and it's telling them what's going on with the deal. So this is a great way to keep your clients in the loop and in the know of everything that's going on without you having to set the time to send that email on your own. By setting it up this way with this little cogwheel here, it will allow you to do that automatically. Do you guys have any questions about the different stages and phases and sort of the overall flow of the opportunities and how they work?
I do. When you have, let's say, husband and wife who are your clients, are you setting up the one contact and it's automatically pulling in the second if they're marked as a spouse, or do you have to add both clients?
Great question. So you would have to add each client in individually as a separate contact. But when you are creating that contact for the second spouse, you can add in their relationship. So if we see here, I have Beyonce as a contact of mine because in my world, me and Beyonce are best friends. And what I did was I created a contact for her husband, Jay-Z. And I have linked the two within their contact cards here that they are in a relationship. Now, if I were to be creating an opportunity for a couple or another set of partners, whatever the case may be, when I go to create that opportunity, the client will be person one, and then you can also connect a co-seller.
Okay.
Now, if you see when I click on co-seller, because I'm in Beyonce's contact, and she is married in my database to Jay-Z, he automatically pops up because the system knows that these two contacts are related. So you can simply add both people on the same opportunity. That's a great question. Okay,
So then when you're in that last section you were just reviewing where the clients can get the updates,
Mhm.
that'll automatically go to both of them.
That is a great question. So you do have the ability to preference if you'd like it to be sent to the client and the co-client or the primary client. It's
Okay.
completely up to you. So you do have that option, and that was a really good question.
And what if there's more than one, more than two?
If there's more than two, we got to stick to the top two and add them in. Now, just another note regarding the opportunities. As I mentioned before, you can use the opportunities as a way of building up your pipeline and taking your recent contacts, people who you've just met, with the hopes of turning them into a client that you're going to be working with. So you can think of the different stages and phases as different checkpoints, perhaps. And what I mean by that is, an idea could be changing the stages within the cultivate phase and perhaps tailoring them more towards the timeline that someone has given you as to when they may be ready to buy or sell their house. And what I mean by that is, instead of having the phases being watch, nurture, hot, perhaps we set up a stage where they're 9 months to a year out, 6 months to 9 months out, 3 months to 6 months out, etc., etc. That way, as you're building this relationship with someone and gauging their timeline, you can move them accordingly into the time frame for which they may be ready to move forward and begin to work on this deal with you. And again, you can come in here and click on Edit Stages and create a list that's exactly how you want it to look, and you can make it be whatever you want to be. That will be the best way to help you better your business. So now what I'm going to do is actually show you how to create that opportunity, and it's very easy. And again, I'm just going to click this button right here because it's right on this page, so it makes it super easy. Now your market center should be defaulted to whatever market center you are part of. And if you are part of a team, you're able to select your team from the drop-down menu here. Opportunity type prompts you to select the type of deal that you'll be working with. And it is very important that you make sure that the opportunity type is changed when you are creating your opportunity. If, for example, we do not change the opportunity type, but our client is a buyer, I have no way of coming into the opportunity and changing this to reflect a buyer. I would have to archive the opportunity and then create a new one. So just get in the habit of clicking on this drop-down arrow, even if you're going to be working with a seller, and just get in the habit of clicking on listing, even though it's already there. This will just build that habit so you'll know exactly what you need to be doing right off the bat in terms of the type of deal that your client is going to be. Now for client, as I mentioned before, you do have to have the contact already created. So you can simply begin to type in their name. And same thing if you have a co-seller, just begin to type in their name and populate it here. Now the opportunity name is going to populate based off of the client name and the opportunity type. But you are free to create any opportunity name that you want. And again, this is for your benefit. So if you think it's easiest to have all of your opportunity names involving the address of a property or a specific town, go for it. If it's much easier for you to see everyone's first and last name, go for it. However you see fit. This is going to be completely customizable, and it's not going to be reflective on any paperwork in your DocuSign or Dotloop or anything along those lines. This is just for you to be more organized. I personally like adding the property address when I'm working with a seller. And adding the name in as well. You can flip them around, you can just do the last name, whatever the case may be. Custom tags, I really wouldn't worry about. It's not something that's going to be imperative when working with opportunities. I really truly don't see a big plus in using the customized tags with the opportunities. I wouldn't worry about it at this point in time. Depending on the deal that you're working on, there will be various questions here for you to fill in: the estimated close date, estimated budget, listing price, etc., etc. But you'll notice that these are not mandatory fields to put in. The only thing that's going to be mandatory is adding in that commission rate. So you can come in and put in your share of the commission, and just know that you can always come in and change this number later on. So if you are working with someone who has not yet definitely decided that they're going to be moving, but you wanted to create this opportunity to stack your pipeline, you can just put in a dummy number, and then when the time comes, you have the flexibility to change that amount. Finally, you can pick and choose where you want the opportunity phase and stage to be. And you'll notice you only have up to active. You will not have the ability to put the opportunity under contract or in the closed bucket right away. This is because the overall goal of the opportunity is to keep track of that deal as it progresses. So while of course there may be times where a deal pops up and it moves so quickly and you're almost at closing and you're putting in the opportunity right then and there, and that's okay. It's okay if you do that, but we really strongly suggest creating the opportunities as you're starting to build your relationships with your clients. Once I've filled in all of this appropriate information, I simply click on Create, and it brings me right into my opportunity here. Now, one thing that you will definitely have to do in order to, one thing that you will definitely have to do in order to submit your paperwork for compliance is add in a property when you're working with the seller. Now, you do have an option to select from a listing here, but I think it's much easier to simply click on this pencil button and then edit the address for the property right here. See if we have a 90 Main Street. Here we go. I'll choose this address and I click on Save. So now we see that the opportunity has populated on the top of our opportunity as well, and the address is populated here. You won't be able to submit your paperwork without having this property linked. Now within the opportunities section in the details, this is where you can come in and edit more information as it comes to fruition. And again, this is just going to be for your personal records. It's not going to be reflected anywhere else. One thing that Keller Williams does offer is this great system called Porch. What Porch is it's a free add-on that you can download within the marketplace. You can always find the marketplace through this little icon here. And once you download it and connect it into your command account, you will see the Porch widget, I guess we'll call it, has been added into your details section. This is primarily to help the buyer, and the point of this Porch repair estimate report is to help the buyer get a better idea of what certain repairs and replacements will cost and create a very nice structured way of presenting it to the seller. For example, after you have a walkthrough and an inspection, you can take the report that was given to your client by the inspector, upload it right here. So when we click on Get Started, we see that the repair estimate report will include a list of estimate costs for the deficiencies identified during the inspection. Essentially, what this does is it pulls in data from all of the different local repair places to give you true cost estimates, and will show you how much everything is estimated to cost. You then have the ability to select what you'd like to request to be replaced, to receive the credit for, etc. And it will create all of that for you and make it really, really nice and easy. So if you don't have Porch downloaded yet, highly suggest doing that and adding it in here. I think it is a great add-on value when you're representing your buyers. Anyone have any questions so far? Are we feeling good still? Awesome. So now that we have most of our general information and our property inputted within the details, we'll move over to the documents section. And depending on which office you're in and depending on what listing, or excuse me, what opportunity type you're working with, you may be prompted to select a checklist type. For our market center, that simply means you're coming over to this drop-down arrow here and selecting if you're working with a residential or a commercial deal. So I'm going to go ahead and click on residential. Now, since I've selected the appropriate checklist, the opportunity will create lists of documents that you'll need, and it notes whether they're required, conditional, or optional. There are 3 different lists. For this particular example, hello. Yes. I'm sorry? A folder? I think Kevin has some at the front desk. So what you can, what we can see is that we have 3 different checklists here. So you'll have different paperwork for when you are first listing the property, for when it is under contract, and when it has closed. And of course, they'll be different depending on the type of opportunity you're working with. Now, in our market center, and I believe some of the others as well, we have the ability to preview what a completed document would look like. So what we've done is we've attached sample paperwork to most of the documents here. So if you are in an opportunity and you see that the document name is underlined, that means that you can click on it and you'll get to see an example of what a fully completed listing agreement, contract, et cetera, would look like. So just an FYI, if you're in the opportunity and you see that underline, that means there's an example there for you to check out. We have also tried our best to include any additional information regarding the type of document. So of course, that little I will tell you what this document means and why it's required. To actually get all of that paperwork, you'll be able to click on this Start a Transaction button, and that will take you into Dotloop or DocuSign. If at any point in time you guys have any DocuSign questions, I'll put my information in the chat as well. You can always reach out to me, and I'm more than happy to help out with any DocuSign questions that you may have. Now, we're going to fast forward our pretend timeline and say that we have a lot of paperwork that is ready to go. What I'm going to do is just start this transaction here. And I'm just going to add in some dummy documents so I have a good example. Oh, that's not good. One moment. There we go. All right. So what I have done is I've created my room in DocuSign, and we see that the name is exactly the same as what we've named our opportunity. So I'm simply just going to add some documents for an example here. So now we're back in our opportunity. We have fast forwarded time and we're ready to actually add these documents to our checklists. And the purpose of this is so we can submit them to the Market Center for a compliance check. And ultimately, this is step 1 of how you're going to get paid. So that's why we want to make sure you guys are experts at this. This Attach Multiple Files button is going to be your best friend if it's not already. By clicking on this button, it allows you to upload your documents all in one shot, as opposed to having to click on this Add a File button over and over and over again. So depending on where your paperwork lives, you can always click here to open up your desktop, your computer, your library to add the documents in manually, or you can click on this button here, which prompts the connection to that DocuSign room. And I do believe that the same thing will hold true for Dotloop, although I am not 100% sure. So if I am wrong, I do apologize. But at least in the world of DocuSign, I can now click on that icon, and then any documents that I have in my room will show up in this drop-down menu here. Now, once a document has been signed, it will say -signed at the end of it, and you do have the ability to rename your documents in DocuSign. But the beauty of this is that I can simply say, okay, my consumer information, here's my consumer information. My permission to advertise, here's my permission to advertise, etc., etc. Simply click on attach. And then those documents have been added to my checklist. If you need to check to make sure you have the right document, to make sure everything looks good, you can always click on that and open up this preview, and you'll be able to see everything. And you'll do that for at least every required document, and of course, any conditional or optionals that are necessary.
I have a question.
Sure.
Some of the documents, like attorney review concluded, do those need to be brought in?
So let's check under contract. And you know what, I actually can't 100% say for sure if these checklists are the same from market center to market center. They may vary a little bit. So the wording may not be exactly the same as it looks on your dashboard.
So is it safe to assume that if it's not named in opportunities, then you don't have to bring it in?
That would be my assumption, that if it's not listed as a required or a conditionally required document, it wouldn't be required. But to be on the safe side, I would just run that past your broker or someone else in your market center, just to double check. Yeah, and this is something we have that's optional on our end. So yeah, I'd recommend just reaching out to them to double check, but I think that that's not something that would be required. Now, when you do have all of the paperwork, you are going to click on this button to submit it to the MC. And you'll see that this button is going to be available for all 3 of these different checklists. So you will be submitting this paperwork 3 different times once you have all the paperwork uploaded to each section. Now that's going to be one half of submitting everything to your market center in order to get the compliance approved and to get paid. The other half is going to be submitting a commission request. So again, this is something that the Rutherford office does. I don't believe all 5 market centers are on this path just yet. I do believe some of you are still using green sheets, and that's totally fine. You're more than welcome to see how we do it on the other side. But I do apologize. I don't have any answers for you regarding the green sheets. I came to the Rutherford office kind of just after they were phased out, so I don't have any personal experience with them. But within the opportunity, you do have the ability to enter in all of the offer information right in the opportunity. Now again, you can use this in one of 2 ways. One could be you have your offer that's been accepted. This is what the deal is, and you don't need this tool for anything else. You're simply inputting that deal and moving forward. Or you can use this as a way to present multiple opportunities, or excuse me, multiple offers to your client. So I'll show you how easy it is to add in an offer. All we do is click on the Add New Offer button. You can rename the offer if you'd like, so it can be based on the person's last name or the date or anything along those lines. Then when we click on Create Offer, there are 4 quick steps that we fill out. The first is just verifying the offer details. So this is going to say when the offer date is, as well as when the approximate closing date is. So I'll just change this to the end of May. Next, we move into parties. And within parties, we see that our client's information and our information is automatically populated in. So the only thing you'll have to do is add in the name of the buyer, as well as the buyer's agent. Now, if this is, very new on in the early stages, maybe you don't know the buyer's name for whatever reason, you can always just put in a dummy name or an NA, whatever you prefer. Next, we'll go to terms. And the terms are going to be a way for you to input how much is being offered. Now, it doesn't allow you to type the number in the sales price box. You do have to type it in between the cash and the finance amount boxes. So this is a good way for you to show your seller what is being offered in terms of cash versus finance, by splitting it up. So for example, let's say someone's putting $100,000 down cash and then they're financing $400,000. So overall, they're offering $500,000. You can then take this and do with it as you wish. Some things aren't even applicable in New Jersey. One thing to keep in mind is that this setup looks exactly the same for every Keller Williams agent, regardless of what state they are in. So some things may not hold true in New Jersey, and you may not need them, but it is going to be there just because the dashboard won't change from state to state. The final section here is going to be where you can enter your agent analysis. So again, if you're using this tool to present multiple offers to your seller, this is a great thing to utilize, where you can give your advice and your ideas and your opinions to the seller. If you are not planning on presenting these to the seller, if you already have your offer and it's been accepted, you can just completely skip this step and just click on save. I am going to just type in an analysis so I can show you an example. So I've inputted my thoughts for this offer. Now, I can add in another offer. So let's say we have someone else who is making an offer.
Yeah, I'd like to take a printout. Can I write down the details?
I can then create that offer, and we do that same process all over again with a different offer. So let's say the closing date is that.
No, we don't want look like that.
And we come to terms. Let's say they're going to be putting 200,000 down and they're offering 300,000 finance. So then we can go to agent analysis. You can give your opinion and click on save. So now what I've done is I've inputted two different offers, and we can send these to your seller and they can use them as a tool to compare the offers essentially. So we see this check mark that appears here when we have multiple offers. Simply check on that and the compare offers button becomes illuminated. Once I click on that, we can see that the system puts together this really nice spreadsheet for us. So we can see a true comparison between the offers. Now, if you had 4, 5, 6 offers, etc., I do believe they would all show up here as well. You can also email the offer comparison, and if I click on that button, it's going to preview what that email says. We can change this if we want, and we can preview the email, which looks a little bit different, but it's going to be branded to you, and it's going to be laid out very nicely. Here are your two offers in these little squares, the total offer price, all the differences, and they do have the ability to click on this button to compare the offers and view that nice little chart. So if you are working with someone from start to finish and you're working with them as you're presenting the offers, this is a great way to add all of that information in here and create some really nice graphics and messaging for them. So now we have our offer, it's been accepted, the deal is winding down, and we're ready to put in our commission request. So let's say we went with Jonah Hill's offer. So I'm simply going to click accept. Now his offer is moved to the top, and we see that two new buttons have appeared, change response or manage commission. The change response is a great thing to note in case a deal falls through, in case something happens, you can simply click on change response, and it will no longer have that offer tied into your opportunity. In the past, if an offer fell through, I believe you had to start all over, but this just makes it really easy for you to change that offer and accept a different one. Now, once we are ready to go, we'll click in this button that says Manage Commission. And this is the fun part. This is where all the magic happens, all the money. So anything that's outstanding or there's something that you need to be notified about, you'll see it show up under the summary with this exclamation point next to it. No matter what deal you're working with, no matter how much information you input, this will always show up. Missing information, contract date. And you'll see where it's supposed to go because it's highlighted in red. In order to change this, we simply click on Edit General Information, and then we can come in and select the contract date. So maybe, we went into contract on Friday. Now, the contract date doesn't have to be the exact date. Because you're submitting this with all of the other paperwork, the date can just be as close to the contract date as you can get it. You don't have to drive yourself crazy trying to look back and find out when the contract was official. Now, this is also the area where you can edit things like your commission rate or the total commission or even the sales price. So if we accepted this offer and maybe the sales price of the home increased, we can just go ahead and make that change right in here. And all of these numbers will reflect accordingly. So if you notice, I'm going to go back to 500,000 and this money amount changed. I can also adjust my commission rate. So if it turns out my commission is only 2%, I can change that rate and it changes here. Or maybe it went up to 3, boom. Or perhaps there's a case where you have a flat total in your commission and you need to manually enter it. You can do so and the commission rate will be adjusted for you automatically. I'm just going to go ahead and put it back at 2.5 and click on Save Changes. So now we see that message has gone away and everything matches here and it looks good to go. Now, if we did need to change something with the commission, let's say you are, I don't know, let's say that the offer went up and you're getting a little bit more because of that sales price. I'm now going to click on Save Changes. Because I've increased the total commission in the general information, it's telling me that my agent commission balance is off. That's because the change here did not reflect the change in my agent payment section. And that's no problem. This is the easiest solution. We're simply going to come into Edit Agent Payment. And all I need to do is click on this Calculate Commission button, and boom. It's now calculated to what the general commission is. I can then save changes, and I'm good to go. Now let's say, maybe you needed to add something onto this commission. Let's say perhaps because you're the listing agent, you're getting that bonus for the listing fee. When you go to Edit Agent Payment, you can scroll down and we can add an item here. And this allows us to add things such as bonuses or outside referrals. So let's say it was an extra $250. I'm going to add that in, click on Save Changes, and there we go. So now that bonus is reflected in my summary, as well as the payment breakdown under my agent payment. And that's why it's not affecting the total commission, because this 250 is being added on top of that total number. Now, let's say there is an example where you are working with an agent, or perhaps you received a referral. There's two different ways for you to input this information. If it's an inside referral, meaning someone from your market center, not Rutherford to Ridgewood, not Fort Lee to Woodcliff Lake, if you had Ridgewood to Ridgewood, you would come to this button here to add another agent. And this will allow you to search for the agent name of someone in your office. So you can type their name in and select that person from the drop-down menu. You can then calculate what their commission would be if you're splitting the unit. So for example, if you're each getting half a unit, you can put that information in there. Or perhaps maybe we just are giving them a flat referral bonus. Maybe it's $500. You can manually type that in, and then we'll click on Save Changes. Now, because we've done that, we now have the excess agent commission, which simply means that the agent commission didn't calculate the results of the referral commission. So all we do is come back in here to edit agent payment information, and we just have to manually subtract that $500. So this would be down to $250. We click on save, all good. Now, if you are working with someone from another office, it's going to be slightly different. We'll come back into the edit agent payment, scroll down, add an item, and now we're going to click outside referral. So now within the outside referral, this is where we can, again, type in either the percentage or the money amount. So let's say if it's, I don't know, 25%, that amount will change here, or if it's that flat number, we can go ahead and it'll calculate that percentage for us. You will need the tax ID number from the W-9 form of that other market center or that other office. So you'll type in that 9-digit number here and select the EIN option for the employee identification number. Then you'll simply add in the name of that brokerage and the agent name, etc. And that way all of their information will be saved and they will be reflected as receiving that payment, which will go directly to that office. Other than that, once everything looks good to go, you can review it, make sure it's golden. We simply click on submit. And if you do wish to make any donations, you can do that here, or you can skip, but of course that's completely up to you. Now, it is good practice to get in the habit of submitting this commission when it's under contract. The MCA does have the ability to come in here and change things for you or reject it if something happens during the closing period. But by submitting this commission when the deal is under contract, it helps the market center know what's coming down the pipeline, and it'll ultimately help to get you paid a little bit faster as well. You're also free to add in any notes that you'd like the MCA to review. You just simply click on add a note and then type your information in here. So for example, 250 bonus for listing fee, and save changes. And we'll see all of that note reflect right here. Once we submit, we're good to go. We just wait to make sure everything is cleared and all of your documents are compliant and you're ready to rock and roll. So that was a very, high level, but yet in-depth overview of working with the opportunities in Command, plugging in all the right information, and getting your offers and commissions situated as well. So, Michael, do you have any other questions?
Am I the only one left?
You're my last man standing. I think the other two ladies that were here had other calls they needed to jump on.
Yes,
so,
when you were doing the compare offers,
yes.
I understand the email format that your seller would receive. Can they also see the side-by-side if they log in?
Yes, so I do believe, and actually what we're gonna do is, so if we were to email them that comparison, or we can actually download. And so what I've done now is I have downloaded this comparison on a PDF that I could simply download to my computer or save it as a PDF, print it out to share with them as well.
Great. In this market, this is such a cool feature.
It is. It is.
Last night I sent a spreadsheet with 11 offers to my seller.
This is definitely something that comes in handy. And I think that, a lot of agents, especially if they're not too familiar with the system and they haven't been using it as in depth as they would have liked, it's something that can so easily be missed, but it's so simple to do, and it helps you create these really beautiful, easy to read and clean looking pieces of content, whether it's about an offer or about whatever the case may be, that you can share with your clients. So definitely, I'd love it if you were to take advantage of that. That would make my day.
Now, I realize you're in a different office, so you may have a different procedure, but it's been a while since I had an outside referral. Someone referred to me. Where do I get the outside referral form for the other agent to fill out?
So, an outside referral form, that is a good question. I am not sure if, I can get back to you on that if you don't mind. 'Cause
Well,
I'm actually not
I can
sure.
just ask our office. Maybe
Okay,
that's better.
okay,
I'm going to check the old intranet, see if it's there first.
good idea. Yeah, I'm sure it's an easy answer. I'm unsure what that easy answer is.
But for commissions here, the only outside information I need is I guess I need the company name and address and tax ID.
Exactly, and exactly, that's it. The tax ID on that W-9 form, that's going to be key when you are working with an outside referral.
Do we need to collect their actual, what is it, W-9?
I believe so, because I do believe that's the best way to get that tax ID.
Mm-hmm.
So you can just simply ask the other agent to send that over to you. They should be able to have it readily available, or at least their office should.
Does that get added to the loop, the opportunities documents?
I don't believe so. Contract, let's see. We don't have it under our list here.
Mm-hmm.
But you are always welcome to add any additional items.
Okay.
So, and you can create custom folders as well. So for
Great.
example, if you want to, create agent paperwork, for example, you can then create this folder. And when you click here, you can add a document. You can choose the document type, whatever the type may be, and then enter the notes here. So this could be the, let's say it's use W-9, and you can add that document and upload it here.
Okay, great. I'm good.
Awesome.
I'm gonna enter it right. I'm gonna start the opportunity now, and hopefully, this is like
Awesome.
the third time I've watched this session, but it's been such a long time, and the other two times our office wasn't quite ready, so
Gotcha.
now's the time.
Gotcha. Well, I just put my email in the chat for you. So if there is anything that I can help you with, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm willing to, lend my expertise and offer any advice that I can.
Great.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you joining me, and I hope you found it beneficial. And hopefully we'll see you on another training soon.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Michael. Have a
All
great
right.
rest of your day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.